Hey there! I want to share a recent realization that I had that could help you avoid a mistake that I made.
And I think that the vast majority of organizations have no idea how to train. This is how 95% of people train. It also doesn't work.
In a recent learning club with JB, he said something that got me thinking.
Lastly, just improvement time it's like a training session. That coach one-on-one, side by side with the student. The goal is grow and develop people, not efficiency. That comes as a byproduct.
What exactly is the difference between teaching and training? To clarify, I asked Adam and Brian for their thoughts. Here's what they said.
I'd have to say that teaching is more of like a classroom type setup where it's an information push. You're kind of getting your knowledge and trying to just impart the information to somebody. It's not necessarily a comprehension type thing, but you're just really pushing out information. Training is more of you're locking arms. It's more of a practice field type scenario where you're trying to understand what did they understand from the classroom type scenario, and then you're with them on the field. Do they really understand it?
And when we say teach, what we mean is you're actually trying to transfer information. For example, you want them to know all of the terms, all the definitions for all of the things that they're going to encounter in their process. So you want to transfer that knowledge to them. Then you're going to actually show them how to do the job. And that may be through standard work, showing them how to use standard work, or actually showing them physically how to do the job. Next, you're going to work on training. And this is where most Western companies get lost. They blend all of this together and they do a really bad job on any of these particular items. But next is we're training. What does training mean? Training means we're letting them do the work. We're gonna stand back and we're gonna watch them and we're gonna work with them through the process. We're gonna allow them to get some experience with it. And then we're also going to allow them to adapt to the role.
They're all correct. So if we break it down, teaching is a transfer of knowledge, right? And it's normally in a classroom setting where you have one teacher and many students. And we do this in our morning meetings, our learning clubs, and our Yokatan, which is our before and after videos. We transfer that knowledge. But then training is more practical. It's about your skills. And it's normally one-to-one, hands-on approach. And we do that in our 3S, Kaizen events, and our Gemba walks. But here's the thing. Most of us are getting this wrong. 95% of organizations don't know how to train. And I've got a clip to show you how.
We're very big on rapid feedback in the moment because that's how you train behavior. So if you look at, so there's tons of studies on this, but basically if you want to train a dog, right, and you want it to sit, if you have it sit and then immediately give a biscuit, it learns really quickly. If you have it sit and then wait 10 seconds before you give a biscuit, it takes like 3 times as many repetitions for it to learn that the sitting gets the biscuit. If you wait more than a minute, it never learns.
Really?
You can see the learning curve, the amount of repetitions just skyrockets until eventually there is no amount. But here's where it gets crazy. That biscuit is still reinforcing something, just not sitting. It's reinforcing the thing that just came before it. So if we want people to do something, we have to change it in the moment. And so when we train, and I think that we're a training organization, we're very good at training, whatever skills, is engineering ways to give many feedback loops in a short period of time around specific skills. So I use sales because it's one that everyone understands. If you're training a script with someone, if you let someone read through a script, and then at the end you say, hey, here's the things you could have done better, blah, blah. This is how 95% of people train. It also doesn't work. Mm-hmm. We set the premise with, you're going to read through the script, and in the first 30 minutes, we might get through a third of it. And I'm going to probably stop you like 30 times. And if that happens, it means we're doing it right. So we set the premise that I'm going to interrupt you a bunch of times. And as soon as you say the first line, I'm going to be like, stop, say it again, say it like this, go again. And then they're like, okay. And then they say it. And I'm like, awesome job. Do it again. Awesome job. Do it again. So I reinforce it as many times as I can. Okay, go to the second sentence, right? Now do first and second, right? Do second and third, right? And you keep working your way through until eventually they just say it like a whistle. They can sing it because they've also had so many repetitions and so many feedback loops that they're like, this is what it sounds like when it's right. And I think that the vast majority of organizations have no idea how to train, and their entire training their way of getting talent is just let's hire 10 and we'll just see who works out, rather than being able to take someone and level them up. And I think that the ability to train is one of the largest alphas that exist in organizations, because if you can buy talent at B skill and get them to A+, then you net the delta in profit between what you had to attract and pay the person to come and what they perform at. If you have to use a picking strategy, then you have to pay for current market rate of the skill. And so you actually eat into margin because you don't know how to train.
I've never heard anybody explain training like that, where the trainer takes the learner and says, hey, it's probably going to take this amount of time. I'm going to be interrupting you, and it's probably going to be a bit awkward, but we're actually doing it correct. And then reinforcing the good behavior and says, yes, 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 that's what I want. And then repeating that. And if they're not doing it correctly, you're correcting them. How many of us are actually doing that? But then what about coaching? Where does coaching come in?
And then coaching to me is more of the game time type scenario where you're on the sidelines, you're sending them out, you're letting them get the results from the play or the training or whatever. And then as they come back to you, you talk about that feedback on what they could do different, and then you send them back out there to do it. It's more of an empowerment type thing.
And this is the big miss, and this is the one that will change everything. If you focus on coaching, at that point, you're going to try to work on the experiences they have now, the experiences they came with, and you're going to blend them together and start to give them autonomy to do their jobs every single day. And coaching doesn't end. It's not like, hey, I'm going to work on this for a couple of weeks and then I'm going to move on. You need to continuously coach these people and grow them and challenge them to be better than they've ever been.
Okay, coaching is slightly different. That's where they've already developed the skill, but they need to develop a really strong mindset. And how do you do that? Through asking insightful questions. So when does that happen? A leader will come to you and say, hey, what do I do in this situation? Instead of feeding them the answer, give them insightful questions so that they can lead them to the answer and they can figure it out for themselves. That's growing people.
I learned this from Mr. Amazawa. Stop giving the answers. Make your people figure it out. Okay? That's how they grow. That's how they become confident.
Even the best players have coaches. Just think about that. My mistake was spending too much time teaching and not training, because I don't know what training and coaching look like. Nobody taught me. To truly grow people, we need to teach, train, and coach in that order. But we also need to recognize what stage is that person in. And so that's why I've created the 3 stages of growing people.
So for me, those are the 3 ways that you can really optimize your team. And I think everybody should take advantage of those 3 things.
I've created a downloadable PDF with the 3 stages in a table form with more information, as well as some coaching questions. If you want that, just click the link in the notes below and answer a short questionnaire. And leave your comments below. Let's get a conversation starting about teaching, training, and coaching. Thanks for watching. See you at the next Learning Club. Hey there. I started this channel with one goal: to help people grow people. But here's the thing. Growth isn't a solo journey.
The best
leaders, teams, and businesses thrive because
they learn
and grow
together.
And that's what we're building here. So if that sounds like something worth being a part of, hit subscribe, because the more of us there are, the more we can invest in learning together. Let's grow together.